We're going to go out in a bang, and I'm not talking about the casting couch.
Well, now I'm thinking that you are talking about the casting couch.
Misstep. Break your click, break the system, take your pick. Never put the game on hold if I can't kick, don't fuck with my shit. Independent seas, independent split. Reap the benefits. Drop that, let it. But I'd rather sell a brick than work to build your house. My dependencies never fall upon waste use. Yeah, they slept on me, God, it was just to wake you.
Welcome to the My Creative Friends podcast, where one or two creative friends hop on a couch, apparently, a casting couch, and we talk about creativity, we talk about life, we talk about whatever, man.
Other things.
Whatever. Once again, for season 2, Keralanka. I said it right this time.
Keralanka.
Well,
It's okay. Keralanka.
You know what?
Educational podcast.
People
Keralanka.
see the world differently.
Yes.
I said it right.
Yes, he did.
We made it to season 2, baby.
Made it to season 2, baby. Now we just need to make it to every other season of this podcast until we die.
Yeah.
And
And then eventually every episode.
it's really cool
man.
to just be here and like we've both evolved, even though it's been like whatever 8-9 months. So it's really
Yeah.
cool to sort of like get that perspective.
It's been
Yeah.
an
And just
interesting
watching you
8-9
grow.
months.
Yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
most definitely.
watching me grow?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you're the
Your hair.
growing photographer.
Thank you. Yeah. For the folks that don't know who Keralanka is, tell
Yes.
them a little bit about yourselves.
We're Keralanka, and we're corny as fuck, but the music bangs. Are we allowed to swear? We're a hip-hop duo. I'm Rohan,
And I'm DJ AP.
and we're Keralanka. Hip-hop duo, South Asian hip-hop duo based here in Toronto. Really care about all things, just being ourselves, like representation, getting our voice out in hip-hop, and just reflecting our lived experiences as unique individuals. But more importantly, we're super corny, so
And we make music.
we do, yes.
Corny first, music second? would
No.
you say?
Okay,
Okay.
wait, no.
Let's clarify.
No,
Let's
music
clarify
first,
right now.
Corny second. We are not Weird Al Yankovic. I just want to be clear, okay? Can I say something before we get started?
Go for it. Yeah.
This red hat is not a MAGA hat. Fuck Donald Trump. You can edit this out or keep it in. This is a Microsoft India hat. We're taking red hats back, baby. All right, we're taking red hats back. We're coming for you, brother. All right. Cool. That's all.
You do a good job of creating experiences in almost everything that you guys do.
Mm-hmm.
With concerts, you guys are doing it a lot. And last year, was it last year you guys did the 24-hour?
This year.
It was
it
this
this
year.
year?
It was
2020?
April.
April
Yeah.
2019.
Yeah, that was awesome. And so you guys are doing it again. And this time you want to bake in a little bit of what makes your concert special into these 24-hour EP. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah.
You want to start?
Okay, yeah, I'll
Yeah.
start. I mean, with our shows, I think in general, like, having shows taken away from us during COVID has definitely been like one of the most devastating things, just having to adjust to and everything, because like you mentioned, we really enjoy with our live shows giving our audience an experience, and what that means, just for anyone who hasn't been to a Keralanka show, is we're not just sort of like playing music in front of you. It's a whole experience. Like you walk in, there's something called the wall of fans where you can find like your face as a fan, like photoshopped onto one
like
of
our cover art.
our cover art. And then there's like actually a storyline throughout the whole like experience of so in between songs, like we're actually playing skits where there's an evolving storyline. Like our last show was a corny election. There's the music, but there's also like a storyline and experience tying it in together, and it's super corny, of course, using Comic Sans and all that.
Yeah.
And so, I think that's what really makes us different in general is we're musicians, we're content creators, and we're able to sort of marry those two worlds together. And so one thing that we have been toying with is, we did a 24-hour EP, as you mentioned, in April. And just for those of you guys that don't know what that was we made an EP in 24 hours live on Twitch. It was super fun. But, it didn't fully reflect the experience that we usually bring to our live shows, and that's what we're trying to do now with this next 24-hour EP, is bring that experience into the internet and into everyone's homes who tunes into Twitch. We're going to be having like a really fun storyline, so there's going to be skits playing like in between the process of us making music and everything. So it's going to be fun.
It's going to be a fun one
And
for sure.
Costa actually helped us with the trailer.
to clarify, like we never went into the 24-hour EP like head on, like without ever doing any sort of practice. We've like done a few segments in the past where we've kind of practiced and honed in our skills, like our ability to create music with a time constraint, right?
Yeah.
For example, like we have Corn Hub now, but like Corn Hub's been like a segment since before. It actually started off as a game me and Ro used to play.
What is Corn Hub?
Corn Hub, for all of you that don't know what Corn Hub is, Corn
That
Hub
would
is
be
basically-
probably very important for you to clarify.
this is very yeah, and Keralanka show, which was a segment where basically we would interview a guest, kind of like this, except one person would be at a creative station, which is basically like where we'd have our equipment set up. They'd be working on a beat, and we'd switch on and off, and we'd use the responses from who we're interviewing to basically address, like, to inform and inspire, like, how we create the music.
It seems like you guys love to torture yourselves with time. When we look at Corn Hub, we look at the 24-hour EP.
Sorry, you could say it's our version of. Actually, I'm not gonna ignore. Go on. Go on. I've had way too many
Let's-
sensual references so far. We're gonna stop.
What is it about these segments that you guys find that you're taking away from it?
Yeah, I think we really enjoy just challenging ourselves in different ways. Like, because I think we talk about this a lot. Like, I'm going to get a bit philosophical here, but we always talk about like the journey and like how the struggles of the journey like help influence what you take away from it and in like finally like where you end up, right? And I think that mindset tends to like spill into everything for us, like including like challenging ourselves with. I feel like a lot of musicians aren't willing to step out of their comfort zone, but I feel like we are always willing to step out, as uncomfortable as it may be in that first moment when you do it, right? But you come out of it again, like now being able to do a 24-hour EP. Like I'm so happy we stepped into like at first the Keralanka show, which I explained earlier, which was like our first kind of like live in front of an internet crowd experience.
That's definitely a good point. I've never thought about it like that, but it's true. Like that, the more philosophical side of it, like just embracing sort of like constraints and like struggles and stuff like that. I think it's also a little bit of like we enjoy doing things that other people are scared to do. Like other artists might be sort of scared to dive into that experience because we're kind of like of the mindset of if it fails, it fails. Like, you know, put the art out into the world and it you know, no matter what, even if you grow to hate that piece of work, it's sort of, at the end of the day, it reflects how you felt in the moment in the most authentic way possible. And that's what music is. Music is a timestamp, right?
Yeah.
Like there's songs of ours that I've grown to like not like as much as other songs, but I would never take it off Spotify because it still represents like who I was in that moment. And that's the way we sort of approach it. The other thing is, I think there's a beauty, and not a lot of artists, I don't think enough artists explore the beauty of constraints, like purposely putting constraints on you. And one great example of that is it's enough that, you know, the 24-hour time limit was a constraint on us, but actually the morning that AP came over that day, everything went wrong. So our USB hub stopped working, so we couldn't control our key. We couldn't input our keyboard. His hard drive stopped working, so
My
all
hard
his
drive
sounds,
crashed. My hard drive that I've been using for the past like
Years.
3-4 years.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
These kind of experiences that you guys do, the interactive nature, a lot of the stuff that you guys do with your audience as well, it's not something that you see a lot, especially with like larger scale musicians. And do you think it's something where it's like fear of judgment, or why do you think that is?
Well, I think you know what? I think there is a very legitimate reason for it, and it's a reason as to why sometimes I don't want to do interactive stuff. It's because you want to retain creative control, and when you let your fans in on the process, ultimately it does sort of, you know, it does sort of intrude on your freedom to create to some extent, right? Like as much as I just talked about like constraints being a beautiful thing, sometimes you just want as much creativity as possible.
Yeah.
And you don't want anyone to hold you down. So I totally get that. So I don't think it's always fear. Sometimes it could be fear, but I think a lot of artists just want to retain 100% creative control. And I think that's totally legitimate. But at the same time, the way I look at it is, you know, I still like make that kind of music. I'm still making music, you know, our album, for example, there's no external influence on it. There's no like fans being like, insert this instrument into it or whatever.
Yeah.
I think there's a way to express both, right? And for us, it's like the segments, right? Like the streams and stuff like that represent like let's interact with our audience.
It's the community stuff.
It's the community stuff. And then when we want to make a single where we just want to do this, or we're working on our album, you know, and we just want to like completely have control of that, like we'll do that. So it's really like one thing that AP and I say is like we have a very yin and yang mentality of you can do both, right? You don't have to tie yourself down to one or the other and live in absolutes. Like you can do the community stuff and involve your fans in the process while at the same time exploring more, I guess, independent creative experiences as well.
So the beautiful thing about it though, like as much as you talk about how it can obviously hinder your ability to have full creative control, at the same token, like when you're doing these community driven events and stuff, it's cool because maybe you learn different things, right? Like them telling you to sample something, maybe not, but like incorporate this instrument this way or do this way, right? Maybe it provides new perspectives. So that's the one thing I see being probably pretty cool about that experience for you guys. It's probably like a really interesting, I guess, chunk of time where you get to try new things.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a good way to also understand the diversity of taste of our fans, especially if we get our fans on as a judge. Like Costa was a judge for the last one. And it's really interesting seeing like, you know, what Costa chose to pick as the rules versus another judge who's like maybe wanted like a bit more of like a weirder set of rules. So it really sort of keeps you grounded in regards to like the diversity of everyone's taste. And sometimes it'll push you to just do things that you would otherwise never do. Yeah. Like a couple weeks ago, someone told us to incorporate like triplets into, which is like a very musical thing, but not with rhythm. So like it had to be with a musical instrument, not with a rhythmic instrument. So it's just stuff like that it's like, oh, it pushes us outside of our comfort zone and we learn things that otherwise we might not have forced ourselves to learn.
Yeah, it keeps us experimenting, right? Which is like as an artist, it's the best way to grow as an artist is you got to keep experimenting your whole career. Like you can't stop because otherwise you're going to get stuck in a box, right? And I think both of us, like, we don't like that idea of being stuck in a box.
So you guys, like, you'll be like, okay, let's meet up this day. We're going to work on this track or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. If you guys ever have those scheduled days, you come together and you're like, I'm just not fucking feeling it. Like, do you guys have a thing that you do to get yourself in, or do you just say, fuck it, today's not the day?
So many things, dude. Like, dude, sometimes we'll just come to this happens so many times where we'll just come in and either AP or I will be like, oh man, it's not hitting. Yeah. And we have many, the beautiful thing is, like, we don't just like make music, we also experience music, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So sometimes what we'll do in that situation is we'll be like, hey, maybe it's time to just be a fan today. Maybe it's time to just like listen to a new album and get some inspiration, right? Yep. And then hop back into it. Or maybe it's time to like watch a movie. Like, I've been meaning to show this movie to AP, so like let's watch that and get creatively inspired. I think the important thing with our studio days is to keep it as free-flowing as possible, so that if we're not feeling it, we can really just like gain that inspiration elsewhere and gain a new perspective, whether that's through listening to other music, doing the dregs, or watching a movie.
You brought up a good point though, around, I guess, like finding inspiration in platforms or I guess like creative mediums that aren't the one that you perform in, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Like,
oh man.
How frequently do you pull, I guess, inspiration from a different art form, and which one do you find you guys pull from the most?
Whew. Ooh, damn, that's a good question.
I'm just on fucking fire today.
Yeah, I'm very inspired by like many different art forms, like not just movies, not just music, but like I'm very into like design, visuals. I love photography. Like, I'm not a photographer myself, but I love the medium of photography. I found for myself, like, I'm a very visual person in my head. So I'm a lot of the time drawn to like very visual mediums. Yeah. Right. Like design, like photography. So I find myself like pulling from things like that, like whether it's like an idea for like how I could engineer like a reverb. I'm going to get super like engineer nerdy right now. can engineer a reverb like based off a specific space I'm seeing in my head, for example. Or like I want to take the listener, I want them to, I talk about this a lot with Ro too, like I look at music as a movie. Like I see scenes in my head, and I want the listener, like when they're listening, I want them to be able to visualize something. I need to see it in my head first as a space.
Yeah.
And then I design the sound to fit into that space.
I think for me, definitely like movies are super inspirational because like the arc of an album can sort of sometimes represent like the story arc of a movie. But more broadly speaking, like I just enjoy like analyzing like people who are really fucking good at what they do and how deep they can go with it. Like regardless of the creative spectrum. I think that's something that inspires both of us. So as an example, there is this, I'm huge into battle rap, right? And there was this battle by this guy named Daylight, okay, who's a battle rapper. And this guy has been grinding for like 7-8 years, I think more, to try and get his name out there. And he finally got the battle of a lifetime. And he performed in these 3 rounds of battle rap, which some people are calling like the greatest 3 rounds in battle rap history. Wow. I sat AP down and I made him watch it just because I was like, I can't not have this piece of art like go unappreciated, even if AP doesn't watch battle rap, because it shows how deep into your craft you can go. And like every bar in this rap battle is like a fucking double entendre, like double meaning. It's super deep. You can tell he's just spent decades like honing on his craft. And I remember after showing AP that, he went and like he started making a beat just off the inspiration of, holy shit, this guy's invested so much into his craft. I want to be able to invest that much into my craft. And so like that's super inspirational to me, is just watching other people thrive in their sort of creative sphere inspires me personally. It doesn't
So when you
have to
see
be an
people
artist.
grinding,
Oh my God,
like,
when I see people grinding, when I see people, there's skill level and there's like dedication, right? It's both. It's both. I love just seeing people like succeed from a standpoint of, you can tell that they've like worked on their craft for so long, like the whole 10,000 hours approach. But I also love just seeing the side of it where it's like, damn dude, like this person is really working hard. And it's like, wow, they're working hard with like 3 or 4 viewers on there. And I've seen them evolve from that to like 20 to 25 to 100, whatever it is. And that's like a beautiful thing, because they just stuck to their craft. They said, fuck the noise, like fuck whatever someone else says. Like there might be dipshits coming to the chat saying like, you should quit, whatever it is. They just fucking stuck to it and they went through. And that's the kind of inspiration I need personally, because sometimes it's really tough, man. This has been a tough year. This year has tested my fucking limits, dude, in regards to, do I want to do this? Like, am I able to mentally take on the slumps? Right? Compared to like our last interview and like how I was talking about our shows last time and like the level of confidence, I feel like that confidence got shattered this year, personally.
Wow.
It got shattered.
Just because you weren't able to do it, and so the rinse and repeat thing?
It's
like,
just a wrench, right? Like you throw a wrench into your whole plan. And you think you're adaptive and you're ready. And we were to some extent, because as soon as shows got canceled, we did the 24-hour EP.
Yeah.
But I think I personally didn't take enough time to like sort of sit with the fact that this sucks. Like no matter what, like you try to make the best of it, but it sucks, right?
Yeah.
Like you have a plan, and like ultimately your path like sort of gets ruined a little bit. Not ruined, like there's like a wrench in it, and it sucks, right? And so to sit with that mentally, it takes a lot of sort of like just getting through it mentally. But I'm super grateful for it, because now I feel like I'm on the up and up now as I speak to you, and I feel like I'm regaining some of that confidence, you know, like some of that excitement and confidence. So I feel like it's a necessary slump, but at the same time, you know, just to get back to the original point, when I see people like Hassan, you know, doing his thing and persevering, especially in a time like this, and reaching new peaks, I'm like, fuck this, I'm not quitting.
Super
Hell,
inspiring,
fuck no.
man.
Like I can feel like absolute shit. It's okay. I'm gonna get through this day where I feel like absolute shit, and we're gonna fucking get to where we're going.
Obviously, negative experiences and emotions can sometimes lead to the best music we've had, but there are sometimes we find ourselves in these pockets where we're just we don't want to do anything. We don't want to we don't want to fucking put a pen to paper or pick up a camera or do whatever. Where's that line?
Everyone has that line. You have to define that line for yourself. Because for me, you know, like artistic expression has always been a therapeutic vehicle towards just feeling better and whatnot.
Yeah.
But with that being said, like I think it's amazing. But with that being said, one thing I've learned this year is to try and not use my art as a way to just escape my problems. I think it's good to be like sort of to sort of escape my problems for a bit, but then I realize like you also have to address the issue head on as well. Sometimes making a song about that is the way to do that, sometimes it's a Band-Aid solution. And it's a
Yeah.
beautiful Band-Aid solution because it leads to an amazing piece of work.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you need to work on a relationship with someone and there's trauma within that relationship, you still have to unlearn that trauma. You still have to like go to therapy, right?
Yeah.
Like, and like talk about, that's something I've started doing this year. And it's like actually, if you have a problem with someone in your family and that's like the underlying cause of your trauma, writing a song about it is one of the best ways to help you heal, but it's not the only piece. Like there are other pieces that you need to work on. And so I would say I'll never say that like I'm not going to write a song about it or I'm going to like stop myself from doing that. But if I don't feel like it and I just need to feel my feelings out and confront it, that's what I'm going to do. Sometimes it's important to just sit and just be human rather than creating or anything. Just be human and feel through things.
You got to listen to yourself and know your own limits and be like, okay, you know what? I usually push through, but I don't need to be hard on myself all the time. You know what I mean? I can listen to myself with a compassionate voice and be like, hey, like, I think I actually need to maybe just step back and do the work, reevaluate my own headspace and feel it out. Because at the end of the day, like, also relating back to the art, you need to feel out the moment to truly be able to capture it within the art.
Right?
Yeah.
Because that's all good music is.
Oh.
Is like reflection.
Hell yeah, dude.
100%.
An authentic reflection of what it is, right? But those people have still done the work to confront their feelings and to feel their feelings out.
Great answers, guys. Great answers.
Great
Better
questions.
than
Yeah,
well,
better
these are great
questions.
questions.
Yeah. Awesome questions.
I'm enjoying these questions.
you guys flatter me. So yeah, I wanted to go into the segment. It's now I guess called Behind the Rap.
Ooh.
We're gonna start with the one that we all heard in the intro, Gandhi.
Gandhi. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Throwing it back. Dope.
That's you gotta go ahead.
Oh, like no question. Just like
This step. Break your click, break your system, take your pick. Never put the game on hold if I can't get no fuck with my shit. Get it, pet it.
one of the first songs we ever made.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you remember how the song started?
I'm trying to put it together right now. I'm
There
in the,
is a so we found a song that we just really fucked with, and it started off okay. So the original inspiration of that song, believe it or not, sounds okay. This is where the original inspiration of the song comes from. I remember it now.
Okay.
Dark Fantasy, the film by Kanye West, amazing film. Okay, it's like a 40-minute like short film that he made.
Oh.
And it's a weird, super weird like story, dude, where he falls in love with this like phoenix who like falls out the sky and whatnot. And I remember there's this one scene where he just starts going ham on the MPC, like to this drum loop. And I remember just being it's like a vocal chop. And I was like, ooh, I want to do that. So we found this vocal chop and we started chopping it up. So where the song started is not where it ended up at all.
Okay.
Because it started there with just this vocal chop, which you can sort of hear a little bit. You can hear in the background, okay?
Yep.
We worked on that song for months on end. Trying to, like,
Really?
perfect it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like for months on end, and I don't know if you want to take over, but like we started adding like strings to it to make it feel more larger than life and everything over time.
Yeah, that one was an interesting one because we also we were very into just experimenting experimenting with like Rohan's vocals too. There's like some like parts where he's like singing, but it's like this weird electronic effect, but it's a hip hop song. Like a lot of different stuff we did like from a production perspective in that track. That sample chop was another one.
That sample chop.
Yeah.
And then lyrically where it comes from is just like the reason it ended up being called Gandhi is because that track is really about just independence, maintaining independence as an artist.
I cannot relate to do, can't fake with you. Bloody leeches on fucking leashes you cater to. Never paused the scene to take a two. And I never bought a dream that was in break your click, break the system, take your pick.
Is that one of the longest, I guess, creative processes that you've had?
Gandhi's up there, dude. Yeah, 100%.
Gandhi is
I
definitely
remember
up there.
this is when we first started making music together. We worked on that track. Like we were working on it around the same time as Cold Culture, but it ended up coming out later, and we were working on that track for I think we were working on that track for at least 6 months. I want to say.
Wow.
That sounds
6
about
months.
right. That sounds about right.
And we're at this point we're still trying to find our groove, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Now like I can look at AP and like I'm like, oh, he's gonna do that, and like I'm gonna do this, and we know like when to go back and forth, when to swap out and whatnot. But at this point we're still trying to find our groove.
Yeah. Next track. Now, I kept this one out of the last one. And for Dragon Ball Z fans everywhere, I can't leave it out. You already know where I'm going with this.
Yeah, let's
but
go, baby.
Also, the first track I ever heard from you guys,
Wow.
Vegeta.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tell me why they say they stay, then they always go. Cause I don't want no one beside me when I'm riding home. That driver's cold got me turning heel, I can't find my soul. Got a sold out arena, of thoughts inside my dome, and I cannot supply the show. It's been a minute.
Vegeta, right? One of my favorite tracks we've ever put out, honestly. It goes off at live shows. It's awesome. Where this one started was we found this sample by this amazing artist, rest in peace. His name is Marvin Sims. Super just unknown underground R&B soul artist from I think the 60s or 70s, back in the day. And I was just listening to the sample and I was like, oh my god, this is incredible. It's so raw. If you listen to the track, it's called Blow Away Breeze, and you can hear the vinyl crackle and just it's clearly recorded decades ago, but it gives it that grit, that authentic sort of soul twist, right, in regards to how it sounds. And I just really wanted to sample it. So that's where the intro comes, the intro comes in with the sample, and then it drops, and I wrote an entire song about it. It switches up in the middle to give it a bit more of a 2000s sort of twist. Where I was going lyrically with it was I didn't originally write the lyrics being this is going to be about Vegeta. It was sort of a lot of the themes explored in there is just evolution of character.
Okay.
The idea of being a bit of a hypocrite. In the first verse, I'm talking about tell me why they say they stay, then they always go, because I don't want no one beside me when I'm riding home, meaning I just want to be alone. I don't want anyone here. But then the second verse is tell me why they say they stay, but they always go. Still, I'm hoping you're beside me when it's time to blow, right? So it's that sort of dichotomy of I feel both ways, right? Sometimes I just want to be a lone wolf. Other times I do sort of feel alone and I want others to be beside me kind of thing. And this is particularly about a relationship, right? And just getting over it and all that stuff. But it evolves into different concepts as well, just confronting my own inner sort of demons and stuff like that and trying to work through it through music. And I think the evolution and arc of Vegeta as a character is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Because he starts off as this very cynical character, which is what this first verse is about. It's about a lot of cynicism, right? And just maintaining that cynicism in the form of fuck everybody, right?
Yeah.
And then it eventually sort of translates into this, okay, yeah, but I'm also human. Or in Vegeta's case, he's also Saiyan, right? But he eventually marries Bulma. He goes through these different things, and that's why I talk about I need a Bulma. Someone would drive beyond the tour bus, right?
Yeah,
even a Vegeta still needs his Bulma, right?
Yeah.
And so that's sort of where that track went. Is I noticed the evolution and arc of the verses really matched his story arc really well. So that's why I wanted to call it Vegeta.
I don't have much to add to that. He went really in depth there. It was a dope beat. We switched it up in the middle to be more 2000s with a bit of a swing groove to it.
All right, I have two more.
Okay.
All right, two more. So this one here is one that you dropped during this whole pandemic. Cold Shoulder?
Oh, yeah.
Cold Shoulder.
Yeah, Cold Shoulder.
You
So
helped with this one, Costa.
Yeah, you actually helped with this one
Do you remember?
without you knowing it. Or, well, you know it,
No,
but you
know
just
it.
don't remember.
You don't
it.
remember, dude? Dude, you helped make this. You helped produce the song. I'm not in skip mode right now.
Yeah, this is
He
not
literally
skip mode.
doesn't remember. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm pretty sure there is a pool splash in that beat.
right. That ghost, is it a flute? Is it a ghostly flute kind of you got going on
Yeah,
there?
it's a Indian classical flute.
Okay.
That we sampled and pitched down.
All your songs have this loop or a track in it that defines the track, and that one really defines it. It's really, really cool. And then you go on some really cool runs on that
Thank
track
you, man.
too.
Yeah, I just wanted to bar out on that track. Yeah.
But it gets closer every day. Got past the holes in the clothes, but there's rovers in the way, and there's cold shoulders every day. But them waste man's burn when it's over anyway.
I've been trying to find that underpriced attention in the game. Finna modify my lenses for the fame. Take the shot, change my view with my lane. But y'all ain't got the drive for the bumps along the way. Ay.
So I remember this one very clearly. This one started off, actually, we were on a
TikTok
TikTok
Live.
Live. and we're like, hey, let's just.
Costa was there.
Yeah, Costa was on this live.
I was there.
Costa was on this live.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, let's make a beat. We start making this beat, and like everyone's like giving different suggestions on the live. Costa's the one who's actually suggested that one, Water Splash. Go check out the track. And
I think it
you'll
was
know what I mean.
Waves.
Waves or
Something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Along those
I think
lines.
Kenneth might have even like suggested the flute or something else.
Yeah. But it was like a lot, using a lot of people's suggestions on instruments, but then obviously like acting as the curators and being like, hey, but let's find something that sounds really good in that category. Let's make it all work together. And we started off with the beat first, and like I love that beat. That beat, it gives me a certain feeling. I don't know how to explain it to you, but it's a vibe. Because to be as generic as possible, I'm gonna say it's a vibe.
It's a vibe. It is a vibe.
I rapped all those verses that you hear. I record on TikTok Live as well. I
Yeah.
record
Oh,
it
right,
in
okay,
front of
okay.
the camera. But okay, so this is what's the dope thing about music. That verse was not written to that beat, right? That verse was written, appropriately enough, in India. Okay, that verse was written in India. I was in my uncle's living room, and I remember this is at a point where we were going through a shift in Keralanka. Someone had just left our team, and like we were going through a lot of changes, and I was just trying to adjust emotionally to a lot of this, and I wrote that verse. It's a very bitter verse. Like a lot of it, if you listen to it, like it's coming from a very bitter standpoint. I'm saying motherfucking bench players, like acting like they're starters, like all this shit. Like it's coming from a very, very bitter place at the end of the day, but again, reflected. And then when we made the beat on TikTok Live, this is the great thing, right? Like sometimes we'll make beats on Twitch or Instagram or TikTok or whatever with no intention of releasing it. Like we weren't like, oh, now this is going to go on Spotify.
Yeah.
But that particular beat, I was like, wow, like this is sometimes as a rapper, like you'll write a verse and you're like, this is a good verse. This is a fucking dope verse, but you keep trying to record it to different beats and it's just not the right canvas.
You wait till it works.
Where you're like, the bars are there, like it works, but it's like, it's not the canvas. It's just not the canvas, right?
Yeah.
When I heard this beat, I was like, I think this is the canvas. This is the canvas for these specific bars that I wrote. And then I'm able to sort of like go back in time and channel that version of me when I wrote that song and sort of like channel it into that energy. And it ended up being sort of like the perfect canvas for those specific bars.
Okay, the last one I wanted to bring up is one of the first tracks I heard on my AirPods. I was downtown. And I'm like, oh, cool. They have a new track, Front Lines. Huh. Okay, cool. And it was a really interesting track. The chorus in that one is so unique. It's really fun, that track. There's so many different sounds that are coming out. Talk about it a little bit, guys.
On to the facts, trust your gut like the Duchess ain't bad. Why you hating on me? Blow through the vapor and breeze. I'm from the land of the benefits and forsaking the breeze. So if you looking for the evidence, it's pages to see. Them planes in the air, the manifested hatred and greed. Amplify.
Yeah, so I remember Rohan, like, he's the one who started off the beat, or I think you came to me with that guitar sample.
I think so, yeah.
It was like this very like early 2000s like guitar sample, and like it also sounded like very like, it didn't sound like a real guitar. It sounded like one of those like sampled guitars on those old keyboards.
Okay.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, oh, I don't know if I like this, right?
Yeah.
But then again, here we are. We're always trying to challenge. Like, I think, but we could make it fit with the right instrumentation around it to make it sound more live. So it started there. We took a very like early 2000s inspiration for that song, including that hook is like also like that layering is very like, I would say like 50 Cent.
Super
like
50 Cent. And then that track is also sort of representative of, I think, a return for us to experimental vocals. So at that point, we were dropping a lot of tracks that were just straight bars. At this track, we were like, fuck it, I want to go back to like the weird singing and the auto-tune and the super saturated vocals. So you'll hear like part of the hook, like, there's this like weird like singing part, but I love that shit.
I love that.
So it was like, it represented for us like also a return to like that experimental side of things.
That's
as well.
awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Now, actually, I just remembered, we can't leave the podcast without having a rematch, the rock, paper, scissors. We got to do it.
All right,
we got to do it.
You ready, bitch?
shut the fuck up. Let's go.
Round one.
I hope you added some intense music into this.
real easy. Taking it home. Bitch, I knew he was gonna do scissors again. I fucking knew
what
it.
I was gonna do.
I knew it.
Beautiful. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate it, guys. Thanks for being on. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having
now
us
we
on,
gotta
man.
move this couch and figure everything out.
Yeah, I know. We
Yeah.
gotta
Oh,
run.
speaking of which, great couch, Costa.
Yeah.
I'll be making use of it later on.
Well, I'll be gone.
Yeah.
So you do
Okay.
whatever you want
Thank
with
God.
the couch. Yeah. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any questions around music production, anything like that, leave them in the comments below, and they'll be checking their the comments every day, right?
You already know.
Every
Yes,
day.
sir.
Totally.
Yep. At
Yeah.
Every single day, every
Keralanka
hour.
and everything. At Keralanka and everything.
Beautiful. Thank you for watching. Catch you on the next one.
Let's go. Holy fuck, bruv. Whose fucking mic is clipping, yeah? I think that's yours.
I think that's Michael Costa.
Hey, Michael Costa's fucking mic is clipping, bruv. Holy
It's
shit, bruv.
fucking Michael Costa's mic, bruv.